Hi, welcome to Hit the Bricks. Signal towers, switching towers, interlocking towers, generally all the same thing. What are they used for? Do I need one in my city? I have 2 rail yards and a harbor. I think I need one. We begin this video with a tale of 2 towers, as it were, the one that I had my heart set on and the one that I ultimately ended up with. So this one up here is by the Unique Brick. Found this on Rebrickable. Love it. Loved it from the minute I saw it. I like the colors, I like the traditional Lego design, just the overall presence of it. That's the one I wanted. I wanted this one for a while, and like I said, I had my heart set on it. Now as the southern docks started taking shape and really getting an idea of what that would look like for the city, well, I started doing a little research. Spoke to a couple of my new Lego friends that I've made since I started this channel, and the consensus really was that this tower is obnoxiously large for my southern docks and harbor situation that has a total of 3 switches. So to the drawing board I went, started searching for some different alternatives to maybe that I could use for a signal tower. When it came down to it, I didn't really see anything else that I really liked that wasn't as large as this. And really, I could use something really small. I could actually get away with this. This guy could go off the ladder, go down to a switch, throw it manually, grab a cup of coffee, go back up on the ladder and wait for the next train. But I didn't want to really go to that extreme. I didn't want to go to either extreme, the really large tower or just really none at all. So I started to search for something that would be really a good fit for the harbor and for the docks. And I came up with this one here. So this is a very typical signal tower that you would find in the States from kind of years gone by. There's probably some of these buildings still around, but not too many mainline trains are going to be using this type of manual switching tower anymore. They're pretty much gone on the wayside. But that's okay, because actually, as of late, I've been leaning towards doing more of a time period, a certain era for my Lego City / Lego train layout. And that really is something that is not, that I can see, real common for Lego. It's very common for model railroading. Usually it's done. Usually you do a certain time period for model trains, and that really lends itself well for the locomotives that you use and the rolling stock and everything else. But for Lego, not as much. And there's a reason for that, because Lego comes out with all these great sets that are all different times as far as the time periods and a lot of different themes. And that's what makes Lego really exciting. And I like that too. But from the get-go, if you're familiar with the channel, I said that I was going to do mostly remocs and MOCS with a few official Lego sets thrown in. I'm sticking with that. That being said, I think I can take on the challenge of doing more of a specific time period. So this switching tower actually lends itself very well to that. So let's start off a little bit different today. Let's switch it up and go with the inside view first. The reason I want to do this is because I can explain a little bit about what a signal tower or switch tower, what its purpose is, so you get kind of an idea. So here we see the inside. So what would happen is, generally in a tower of this size, in a small rail yard, you would find one person working a shift. That person would be responsible for counting the trains and which ones are coming through, and making sure that the boxcars and all the freight goes where it needs to go as far as coupling and uncoupling and those type of things, and also making sure that trains don't crash into one another by controlling those switches and the signals. Now these levers here, these large levers, are there as a part of it's called an interlocking system that's housed within the signal tower, and they throw these different levers in different sequences to let the trains know if they can proceed, if they need to stop, and then also to change the direction of the turnouts to get the different freight moved around and switch to cars. Now, I'm not an expert on this, but this is the basics that I know of it. So I wanted to represent that a little bit here in a small little section with the levers. You'd also have a desk, the paperwork, clock up there, obviously, those type of things. Again, this is going from a few years back, what this is modeled as here. So it gives you an idea what would be going on inside. And I wanted to do the detail on this one because I want to light this building up, being that it is a little bit taller. I want to light up the whole city, and I think it's going to be pretty fun to light up the harbor and the rail yard there. But I really wanted to get the upstairs of this building lit up for sure. So I wanted to have some activity going on. So this is what I feel would be pretty typical of what you'd see in a tower of this size. Now, I didn't do the downstairs as far as detail because really this isn't really exciting down there. You have some storage. You'd have the lines from up on top that came from these levers down there that would be part of this interlocking system. It would go through these mechanisms and then would shoot outside up to, I think it's like a quarter of a mile that it would go to different switches and different signals, and it would be this mechanical, these look like pipes. They would be like these lines that would go out there, and you'd be able to connect to the tower itself. You throw those levers and that would change that. I don't know, I'm actually thinking about maybe modeling that and somehow a representation in the yard so you see that. We'll see how that works out. But I didn't really feel it was necessary to model the downstairs. I don't really plan to light that up. There wouldn't be a whole lot to show. Plus, I think it would showcase just the top if I just had that lit up. So that gives you an idea of what the inside would be and what that tower would be doing. In my yard, I've got the seafood market that I did a review on. Here's a link to that one. That was from the designer JPEZ. It's a seafood market. I'm kind of changing that into more of a seafood, kind of just a storage distribution type building. And I'm going to have some refrigeration cars that are coming in, and they're going to pick that up and go to an ice house, get ice put on it, and then go to the northern yards. So the tower will be responsible for all that activity. Plus, I want to put a crane on the docks as well. And I'm thinking either a coal or lumber. Yeah, if you think one is better than the other, shoot a comment down below and let me know. I think either one would work. It's, again, probably a little too much for this size of a rail yard and dock, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about it being like super realistic. I mean, it's Lego and I want to have some fun with it. I want to get bogged down on you could or you couldn't have things too much. Even if I'm going to try to do some prototype type modeling and try to do a time period, I don't want to make it so stressful that I don't have any fun with it. So I think a crane picking up one more commodity other than the seafood would be kind of fun. Like I said, either coal or lumber. So the tower operator is going to have to watch over that as well. So there'll be a few things going on that this tower will be responsible for. So that'll be fun. Okay, so now for the outside and the overall build. For the most challenging parts of the build were, one, the overall size and footprint of the building. Number two was the roof design. Number three, the color combination. And number four was the stairway up in front there. So the first one, the overall size and shape and footprint of the building, I didn't really have anything to go from other than the plastic model kit. There were no other Lego attempts that I saw out there that were really trying to be true to this prototype, at least nothing that I came across. So I did some trial and error. I actually reduced the size of this bottom part here 3 times, the width and the length of it. Because when I was trying to build this brick structure, I wanted the brick down below and I wanted this wooden structure up on top. And I kept feeling like the overall model was kind of heavy, kind of bulky, especially up on top. So I kept narrowing the bottom to get the feel of it being the right proportions to the top. And I think I did okay with it in the end. I wanted these wooden supports here, these kind of arch type supports, and I wanted that to overhang. And I had to reduce that more than I first anticipated. Looking at the model, the HO scale model, I feel like that hangs over a little bit more, but when I tried to do that in Lego, it felt heavy and it felt too much. So that was the first challenge, to get the dimensions correct. The second one was the roof design. And if you follow Hit the Bricks at all on Instagram, this is what it looks like with the underscores. I try to put up a couple pictures in between the videos. And sometimes I ask for opinions from the community, because there's so many talented builders out there and so many people that are willing to give some really good feedback and look at your creation with some fresh eyes. So I had a couple of different designs in mind for the roof, some being a little bit more flat, some having a higher pitch, and some having more of an angle and a higher pitch just on the top part. So I got some good feedback, and I went and looked at my inventory, and I really wanted this less of such a severe slope on the roof. But I wanted to keep these traditional bricks. I didn't want to go in a different technique. I wanted these for whatever reason. That's what felt good to me. Full disclosure, I did not have all the black pieces that I needed. I didn't have two of these corner pieces here. I had some gray. So I'm like, well, I can't just have two pieces of gray. So I ended up putting more of these gray pieces, and I ended up really liking it. And I know not everybody's gonna like that with the two different colors, but to me, made me think that it's not quite a perfect roof. Maybe I'll change it all to black when I get the pieces, maybe not. And then I added some different angle slopes in here just to kind of give it a little bit of different texture as well. And I actually was quite happy how that turned out. So that went through a process of, oh, probably 4 different roof designs. Now that doesn't hang over quite as much as I feel the prototype does either. The same type of issue came into play with that, is I felt it was heavy. I felt it was a little too much when I tried to make it look like the prototype in Lego. I added the gutters off on the side. I think that helped quite a bit with give it more of an overhang look, but yet not so bulky in the end. Once I added the chimney, and then I added that smoke coming out of there for some perceived motion, then I really started to like the roof. I felt it needed that. Without that, it felt a little too plain, and it felt a little too overwhelming to the rest of the model. So once I put the chimney and the smoke, then I was happy with it. Now the third one, probably the most challenging other than the overall size of the building, was the colors. And if you build your own creations out of Lego, if you're familiar with building MOCS, and you realize if you're trying to use the bricks that you already have, colors can really be a challenge because you need a lot of the same ones. For example, over 30 small windows were needed for this model alone. I had to make some sacrifices, some other Lego creations that I had that I pulled these out just to get everything to kind of match the way I wanted to. Looking at this, the gray down below, I felt I liked that choice. I had a couple other colors that I could have used in those masonry style bricks, but I do like the gray. Now this red for the wood section, I was going to do the green like it's in the picture. Now I tried the green because I have the green from the old fishing store. If you're familiar with the channel, you might have seen the video that I did that combines a fishing store with the tree house. Both ideas kits from Lego. And I had those pieces available because I actually dropped that model and gave myself plenty of new inventory. But I used the green up on top here like it shows on the prototype. And I'll tell you, I'm having a real problem using that green in any other structures because it just reminds me of the old fishing store. Like I just can't get it out of my head. It's like a typecast actor. You know, you see a captain of a starship and does other roles, and all I can see is that one particular role that person played in that movie. And that's kind of the scenario that's happening with that green for me. I just can't see that in anything other than the building. Hopefully that wears off or I find a good use for it. But when I put it on this, which is a totally different theme, different model than the fishing store, but I just couldn't get over it. It just reminded me of it too much. So I scrapped that idea. I tried white. I tried some different combinations. I tried some different combinations down below with the brick as well. Ended up with this combination of the light gray and the red, the dark red, and I really like it. It turned out well. Some contrast with the windows there. Did the window seal here. Added some pieces down below, trying to give it a little bit of a style close to the prototype without being too overwhelming, being that it's Lego. So I was quite happy with that. Now, the stairs in front, that was a little bit of a challenge. I wanted to be narrow and I wanted to be that steep, have that steep angle like it shows on the prototype as well. And I thought about using the regular Lego piece here, the stairs, but when we use that, it's just not steep enough of angle, and I would have had to use two of them, and it really would have brought me away from the building too much, and I don't think that would have worked, though it would have been easier. So I ended up doing this design here, which I think worked out pretty well. It's not a new technique by any means, it's been around for quite a while, but it worked well with this building. I think it gives it a clean look, and it's not too overwhelming to the front of the building. So those were the major challenges. Now, if we look at the side of the building, I added some of these pipes. There's, they're gutter and pipe type work on the side here. Also in the front here. If you're not familiar with those pieces, I think they're Lego pieces. They're actually used, if you don't know what they are, they're the pins, the plastic pins that keep the plastic railroad pieces together when you get them when new in a package. So that's what they are. In my mind, it's still Lego. So I used it there, added some detail to the back here on top of the flat roof, and then I also added some of the pipe off to the side here just to give it a little bit more detail. I think it turned out really well. I'm happy with it. So the next video, I'll put it in the docs because I'll be having a rail yard and dock kind of update, and I'll have this in there and we'll see what it looks like. But for right now, that's an overview of the switch tower. I'm happy with how it turned out. If you like this and you like the video, give it a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't subscribed and hit the bell notification, that'll be a perfect time to do so. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.